Okay, you guys can go whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. The Village of Lincoln Heights Safety Committee Zoom meeting, Tuesday, February 16, 2021 at 5:31, officially called to order. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber.
Present.
We have 3 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, can I ask you for the prayer for the day for both of the meetings?
Okay. Father God, we thank you. We thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. We'd like to thank you for rising us up this morning, Father God, and keeping us safe throughout the day. We'd like to ask that you watch over our residents in the village of Lincoln Heights, Father God. Allow them to get to and from the places that they need to go safely, Father God. We'd like to ask that you wrap your arms around them, Father God, and keep them safe, healthy, and prosperous. We ask these things in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
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 So if you're not speaking, would you put it on mute, please, so we won't get the background noise, and so that our clerk of council can do what she needs to do to take the minutes. Okay. Acceptance of the January 19, 2021 minutes. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to accept the January 19, 2021 minutes. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Being no questions, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes or carries. Old business. Any old business? Anyone have anything to bring back to council? Bring back to this committee meeting for tonight? Any old business? Okay, being no old business, we'll move to the new business. Monthly fire report, Chief Amos Johnson.
Good afternoon or evening, everyone. Sorry I couldn't get on here a little earlier to speak, but our report is pretty brief this month. Just a couple updates. We're going for a couple grants. Our EMS grant for the state of Ohio for equipment. We got awarded another grant for COVID for equipment, another $12,000. Last year we got a $25,000, so they gave us another half for COVID equipment, which is good. Real quick update for the paramedicine, where we were talking with Mrs. Key, I think it was last month, where she just happened to be on. And we ended up meeting from when Katie was on last month, and we actually met with Miss Key, and we actually have something in the works right now. She just finished the grant with Princeton, and we're going to hopefully be teaching some of our young folks in Lincoln Heights and in Woodlawn to come back and actually work in the community there. So that's going great. And Ms. Childs, that's what I meant to ask you too. Did you want to be involved in those meetings because it's kind of safety oriented?
It is a safety thing. Mrs. Key did talk to me about it, and I told her go ahead on, because on that particular date, of course, I was on another Zoom meeting. Yes, I can be. Yes, if not me, you have the vice mayor, you also have Ms. Baber. So
Absolutely.
one of the committee members that want to get involved, it's a good thing.
Beautiful. Good. That sounds like it's going to actually be pretty good. They said this is the first model Princeton's doing this first model in Ohio that will probably be spread out over the United States here coming up. So that'll be a good thing if it actually, and she's focusing on Lincoln Heights too as well. Not really Woodlawn yet, but I think since she's on council with Lincoln Heights and things of that nature, I think that'll be a good plus for Lincoln Heights there.
Vice Mayor, do you want to participate in that? Yes, so we will, Vice Mayor will be a part of that. And then I will also be on board at different times.
I'll try to keep you guys in the email tree then, just as we're sending stuff back and forth.
That'll work. You can send that email to all three of us.
No problem.
Mhm.
Real quick to the monthly report, just a new section we're going to do. Just I won't read through everything. On page 1, 2, and 3, it's just kind of going through the equipment that we carry. If you see us going into someone's house, what is this equipment? Why is it there? What are we using it for? These ambulances or paramedic units is probably $250,000 per unit. So we're going to focus on our EMS, and we'll go to our fire and our rescue stuff too as well. So we can kind of break down what type of tools and things we're using, just so everybody's aware. Just that transparency and what we're doing there. So whenever you get a chance to look through that, just on our different responses, and I'll go through here quickly for our numbers for the month, and that's on page 4. So again, going over to the LH column for Lincoln Heights. So if we drop down to the emergency to property, we have 1. And then if we drop down again, odor of natural gas, we have 1 in Lincoln Heights. 1 open burn. That is good because now I think a lot of the citizens are realizing they need burn permits, things of that nature. A whole lot less complaints going on there. Smoke odor outdoors, 1. 1 structure fire. And that was probably a cooking fire there on that one. No, actually that wasn't. That was the clothes, the laundry clothes that caught fire in the middle of the night, but ended up being very minimal damage there. So that's our fire details. So if we go over to page 5 for our EMS details for Lincoln Heights, the second column there, LH, 3 auto accidents, 2 abdominal pain, 1 allergic reaction, jumping down to 1 assault, 2 attempt threatening suicides, 1 back pain, 3 cardiac events, 2 diabetic emergencies, jumping down to 2 EMS lift assists, 1 head injury, 5 hemorrhaging, 1 high fever, 3 injured persons, 3 injured in a fall, 2 medical alarms, 1 poisoning, 3 psychs, 4 seizures, 2 shootings, 13 sick persons, 1 stroke, 9 trouble breathing, and 4 unconscious. For the month, therefore, our details. And if you look over, and I really don't bring this up too much on page 6, our details are increasing a little bit. If you look at January of this year versus January of last year, we can see we're kind of up just a little bit by 20 runs. And I think the rest is kind of basic information, which hospitals we go to, what time of day. And I think that's all we really have for fire this month.
Okay. The question for me is that the attempted suicides were from what age group? Is it adult or children?
I would say those are adults. The children's they would stand out a little bit more if we had the children, but I think majority of those, I can double check that, but I think they're above 18. That would be above 18.
So what do you do when you have to respond to that? Do you give them literature? Do you give them information as to who to contact, or what happens with that?
And that's a great point, what Katie was bringing out too as well. And the sheriff can probably talk about this too. A lot of these psych emergencies or attempt threat and suicide, a lot of these are the same people we go on over and over. And that's where the paramedicine is coming in to figure out what else do we need to do? Is it medication? Is it you need to talk to somebody, versus sending them through the system over and over and over again? It's not helping anybody. It's not helping us, and it's definitely not helping them. So we're going to try to cut those numbers down, or even say at least we have it under control and they're getting help. So, but that's the main point of that community paramedicine coming in, because of those types of runs. Medical alarms is another one. Why are they pushing the button? Are they really sick? Are they not sick? So that's where we want to get into. So hopefully by June, we can have some good numbers, or starting to touch base with some of these citizens.
Are you seeing most of them due to COVID?
No, the COVID numbers have went down drastically. Actually, I think Lincoln Heights is a lot lower than Woodlawn right now. I believe the last list I seen Woodlawn was a page and a half, and I think it's about 15 to 20 per page. And I think Lincoln Heights maybe only had 3 or 4 names, at least what we're getting from the county. So Lincoln Heights numbers are way down on COVID right now.
Okay, anyone else? Vice Mayor?
I know you asked, was it due to COVID? And sometimes it can be, because I have been reading about young folks and people they can't stand the isolation or the lack of social interaction. It may not be, somebody or you have COVID, but it could just be that isolation.
Yes.
That's a concern for me.
Absolutely right. That's another big one, because they just across the county or nation, the drug usage has gone up because a lot of people are just at home. They're at home trying to figure out something to do. So you're absolutely right, Vice Mayor.
Okay. Manager Powell, thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was looking at the number of hemorrhages. Is that associated? We were the only village that had that number. Is that associated with the suicide, or are we double counting there, or what is that associated with?
Let me see real quick. You said for the hemorrhaging?
Mm-hmm.
So Lincoln Heights had 5 compared to Woodlawn having 1.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying, why is that number higher than?
What is that? Can you explain what would you call for me? And what kind of is it associated with a suicide? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, ma'am. That would be if they cut their wrist or something like that, that would still be classified as a suicide. A hemorrhage would be more of internal bleeding,
Okay.
or if you cut your wrist or on accident. That's more of an accident or medical thing going on.
Okay.
Or if you have a nosebleed or something of that
Exactly.
sort.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay.
Perfect
Okay.
example.
All right. Anything else, Manager Powell?
No, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Ms. Baber. Councilwoman Baber, you have anything you want to say?
No, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Daniels has ended the room. Do you have anything you want to say, Councilman Daniels?
Just a quick question. Thank you on that, Chief Amos. I know you were talking about the COVID numbers and how ours are lower. Do you see that as any concern that either we're just getting undercounted, or we just really doing a good job of doing our protocols? I know we have our hand washing machines up and those type of things. So just want to say, is that a concern, or you think it's a positive?
I think that's a positive, because again, when the numbers skyrocketed and the county was going crazy, Lincoln Heights was still down there for a while. I mean, we were at 2 pages, and I think still Lincoln Heights was maybe at half a page. So they've eventually caught up, but it dropped back dramatically on Lincoln Heights eventually. Yes, because I know they're testing over at Lincoln Heights Medical Center. I'm pretty sure. On Stephens.
They're doing the vaccinations over there.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were testing over there too. So
they were testing at one time. Anyone else?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I could tell you that I know that the numbers at Lincoln Heights Elementary, as far as like Princeton COVID numbers with the staff and students, we don't have that problem.
really,
I didn't say that we didn't have a few, but every day we get an email, and we're so happy that it's not us.
wow,
So somewhere in the village, we're doing something right.
that's good.
Yeah, that is good news. Maybe we're staying in and doing what we're supposed to do by wearing the mask. Yeah. So, yes.
Is there any way that maybe for the next month's meeting that we can find out the percentage of people from Lincoln Heights that have been getting the vaccine? Is that part of the HIPAA law, or can we don't need names. I just want to know a percentage.
You can get a percentage, but people from Lincoln Heights may not be getting it at the health center. They are going to different places. Kroger's, the health department, UC, and the health center. Lincoln Heights Health Center has been given X amount of product to do the shots, but it's not enough. They give the same amount to our other clinic, to the other clinic that is in Mount Healthy, that is under Lincoln Heights Healthcare Connection. So they're down to, what is it, Amos, age 65? Are they at 65 now?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so they would have probably been, yeah, they probably would be giving out more today, but the weather outside prohibits prohibit people from actually getting it done. You know, so, but we'll see if we can come up with some numbers. The health department should have numbers
Yes, they do.
as to where we are with that. But we are low. We are low, you know, so we do need to increase those numbers. And of course, I've been pushing for that. Yeah. Yes, State Representative Alicia Reese had a platform the other day, or a forum, I should say, with Governor DeWine and Mallory from NAACP and a couple more people. And Lincoln Heights' name came out as that we need to be we need to be, our citizens need the vaccine. You know, so our name is now up in Columbus with DeWine because he wrote it down, you know, so, okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay, let's move right along to our monthly police report from Lieutenant DePoli.
All right, good evening again, everybody. Lieutenant Jeremy DePoli here with the January 2021 monthly report for Lincoln Heights. I'm going to try to breeze over a few of these things as well and try to touch back on what Chief was talking about there with handling of suicidal persons and so forth. But anyway, I think we all are familiar with the person shot, the double shooting on the 14th of January. Patrolman Aaron Lawson was down near Yellow Express about 1:40 in the morning when two victims rolled up in the Dodge Charger, to advise them that they'd been shot. This one apparently happened up on the hill up near Centennial Estates. That's where a handful of shell casings were recovered. Again, neither victim suffered any lethal damage on that one. One was a gunshot wound to the hand. The other one was wounded to his upper chest, I believe more up in the shoulder area, if I recall. Both of them were apparently a little bit uncooperative or did not know a whole lot either, or I think at the time of that. Another one here right below that on my report, the firearm recovery on Mangum Drive. The reason I want to point this one out, this one's kind of significant. Greg Burke and his rookie were out. Patrolman Greg Burke and his rookie were out at about 2:35 in the morning. There were a bunch of juveniles up there walking down the street. Apparently attempted to flag down. They were walking with their back to the officers. So they were walking northbound. The officers were patrolling northbound, and these young fellows jumped down the street in an apparent attempt to flag down the officers. But as soon as they saw that there was a sheriff's car, they kind of dispersed in a couple directions. My guys doubled back around, and anyway, one of the juveniles immediately tried to throw a handgun into the sewer right there, about 13 years old. Point with this one, during it was a stolen firearm out of Fairfield. It was stolen back in 1993, so that firearm's been on the street for a while, floating around. Obviously, much longer than that the young man's been alive. He wasn't the one that stole it. Somehow he ended up back in possession of it. Bottom line with this one, kind of during investigation, certainly these guys are out at 2:35 in the morning. We have an issue. You got three kids walking down the street at 2:35 in the morning. During investigation, a little bit of interview with these guys, it sounds like they were looking to possibly be out there and maybe do a carjacking. So people just need to be aware. Things aren't always what they might look like on the surface out there. You got somebody jumping in front of your car. That's the indication we have initially is where these young men were at. So anyway, another firearm off the street there. Everybody's unfortunately familiar with last April 2020, when Kerwin Hurd was thrown from the vehicle. I think everybody's familiar with that. The case was finally closed on that. Shayna Jackson is on-off girlfriend, is my understanding of the relationship. She was finally charged on the 20th of January and taken into custody for aggravated vehicular homicide. The other shooting from January, I think everybody's familiar with this one as well. 1124 Lindale Court. It was on the 25th. Young lady that lives there said her ex-boyfriend tried breaking into the back sliding glass door around 6:40 in the morning. Said she gave several warnings. She was armed with a firearm and apparently unloaded at least one round. She believes it struck him in the arm and he fled. We obviously know who he is and he's been charged. A warrant was put out on him for the burglary on that one. He was unable to be located. To my knowledge, he's still out hiding somewhere out in the community. He's got addresses, I think, down in Reading and Norwood. It's just a matter of time before he gets located. I'm not going to go into anything else on the rest of these stats here for the reports. Kind of want to move on to total reports here. We're 26 taken during total criminal reports during January. We're 26. That's down 2 from 28 in December. Non-criminal reports, there were 5 taken in January, down from 9 in December. That kind of brings me back around to talking about the these suicidal runs, as Chief was touching on there. Our general policy on that is that they go to UC, Deaconess Hospital. When we show up, again, like Chief was saying, there's a number of different scenarios we'll see. A lot of times it might be a juvenile who ends up going up to Children's Hospital for a psych evaluation. It can range from anything that, superficial cutting on the arm for attention. Those are the ones we'd rather see than some of the worst case ones. Unfortunately, I was on one up here in the village, I want to say about 2 years ago, where unfortunately, I think it was a 13-year-old hung himself in the closet. That's the last thing anybody wants to see. So we take all this stuff serious. A lot of times it is a kid who's maybe been bullied, or maybe it's just a cry for attention on one level or another. But when it's a juvenile, especially, we're not going to play games around with that. You're going to go down and get a psych eval. Adults, there's been a kind of a shift in the last couple of years of how we're handling adults. The general rule of thumb, it used to be if somebody was making statements they were going to kill themselves or something of that nature, they were automatically going down to Deaconess Hospital or University at the time. Deaconess is now across the street up there. But we've changed. Law enforcement as a whole has kind of changed the way we do some of this. We look at the broader circumstance for an adult, and we check whether the person is on the surface. It would seem it might seem that somebody who was making suicidal statements is obviously out of their mind, not thinking clearly. However, there are situations where some people have thought these things through. We know that 20 years ago you had Doc Kevorkian doing the assisted suicide. And the thought process for us has turned into looking at whether or not this person poses a risk of harm to others around them. That changes things. And when we talk about barricaded subject, we as law enforcement for an adult are not going to go charging into somebody's house to drag them out if they are making, they're saying that they've made statements they don't want to live anymore. We're going to do our best. We're going to try to talk them down, trying to get some help. But there have been situations, not specifically here in Hamilton County with the Sheriff's Office or in Lincoln Heights, but nationwide, there's a growing movement with case law on this where the police were being trained to back off and back out. Nobody else is in danger. Again, on the surface, it doesn't seem like the right thing, but there have been issues where officers have gone in on somebody who's made statements about not wanting to live anymore. The officers have gone into the house and tried to essentially, for lack of anything better, kidnap the patient and take them down to get some mental help. But it's ended ugly where the officers have ended up having to use lethal force. The one I can think of, I couldn't tell you where it was at, but the girlfriend called and said that her boyfriend was making statements about wanting to harm himself and gas himself out in his truck. They showed up. He told them basically get off my property in so many words. It apparently wasn't so pleasant. They followed him into the house to try to reason with him. He ran into the back room, produced a large samurai sword, something of that nature, charged at the officers where they were now put in a situation they had to defend themselves. So the ideas on this are changing. Does that kind of answer some of the questions that maybe we had on that? Yes, no?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, it's
except for that last story you had. Oh. About the sword. Wow.
yeah, that's a very extreme one. It was the officers going in and attempting to get this man help because they were under the impression that he was going to do something to harm himself, when instead he turned on the officers and charged at the officers with a sword. And basically they were at that point now defending themselves, trying to flee out of the house when he came at them. So that's a prime example of kind of how we changed some of the things we're doing here. Again, juveniles are certainly different. You know, we know that juveniles their mindset's not fully developed. They're making irrational decisions, and a lot of times it comes down to something as simple as somebody didn't like them on Facebook, you know, or it's sometimes what I've seen in the past talking with them, it's kind of trying to play against their parents to get their way, you know, being spoiled and so forth. Anyway, that's what I've got on that subject. The non-criminal report.
Lieutenant, before you go on, I need to say something to Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor, if this closes, if I leave because I got a message about the internet, then just continue, please. And I'll try to get back in it if that happens. And to Lieutenant DePoli, please tell me what happened with the teenagers that were out on the street and their parents.
The one kid was charged, the one that had the stolen firearm. He was taken down to 2020. The other two were released to their parents. They were just in his company. Neither the other two kids did not have the stolen firearm. They were not charged. They were taken back to the station and released to their parents.
So were the parents aware that they were not at home?
I do not have all those details. I've only read over the report, so I do not have all the details on that. But 13-year-olds don't need to be out at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, there is a curfew. We have a curfew that they shouldn't be out, period.
We all know that nothing good's happening at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So.
Okay. Yes, Vice Mayor.
In incidents like this, for me, this is just my opinion. This is something that we should probably try to do to help our youth. This is when they need a referral to the My Brother's Keepers. That's where My Brother's Keepers come in at. When those juveniles are doing things like that, and if you have repeat offenders or something, let's get something so that we can recommend those young men or young ladies or whatever to something in the community that could find them something to do other than walking the streets at 1:30 in the morning. I'm not for sure how we can work that. We don't want anybody to go to jail. We really don't, but we want them to learn some life skills. I think we should try to work out something where My Brother's Keeper can get a hold of those guys before it get too late.
Yeah, I'm with you. The two young boys that tore up the ladders around my deck, one of them could have gone to juvenile, and I just said, I can't do that to that baby. I really can't do that to that baby. So I too want to see some programs to address our young adults who are just out there, just wanting to get in trouble.
Well, I would concur with both of you on that. You know, again, we used to have what we normally how we would handle something that was maybe more of a minor crime. Minor issue would be what we would call parental admonishment. The report would be taken. They would not officially go into the juvenile system here in Hamilton County as an offender. The report would be taken. These would be cases where we would believe that the parent would be able to handle the issue with. If it was something simply disorderly conduct, a minor crime, you know, criminal trespassing, something of that nature. Again, we have a 13-year-old running around at 1:30 in the morning with a gun, you know, loaded firearm that's stolen, and we've upped the ante a little bit. I don't want to see this kid have his life ruined. Nobody does. We all want
Right.
to see him become a productive member of society, but I think just turning him over to his parents and saying, "Hey, your kid's got a stolen firearm here. He's out walking the street at 1:30 in the morning," giving my officer some indication that he was looking to carjack somebody. I think at that point we're past just allowing mom just to spank the kid. So that's where I'm at on that. And however the court wants to handle it, that's going to be up to the court. Again, I'm not. Nobody wants to see a 13-year-old kid locked up and had the key thrown away. That doesn't serve anybody any good. I've seen it happen with kids, where I've seen it happen with kids other places over other things where they're on 10 years probation. And that's not the answer for a kid to go through life missing out on, going to school dances and everything else because he's locked up in DYS. That's not where we need to be. But again, this is not something. This is a pretty serious incident that we can't just turn him over to his mother and be done with it. That's where we stand on that. So, any other questions, thoughts?
Councilman Daniels.
Yeah, just once again, just want to reiterate on that point. So where MBK can come into on that standpoint, if we wanted to, where once again, we'd love to work with this committee as well as you, Officer DePorley, where that situation would be where you would work with the parent and us, and then you would get so many community service hours you would have to do. So whatever that crime is, whether it's 20 community service hours that we just had to do with somebody who was 21 years old from Butler County, we already have this program set in place. So second chances is a part of one of our initiatives, especially with our babies who are still in, so yeah, we would love to be involved with that any way we can. So thank you.
Very, very good. If we got other alternatives moving forward, I'm good with that. Like I said, that was just it's one situation where, again, we're looking at a fairly serious thing. A 13-year-old I think we all agree a 13-year-old doesn't understand generally the gravity of what he's doing and how he's just possibly altered his life in some of the options for him down the road. We all agree on that. 2020 was the right option at 2:00 in the morning that night. The juvenile court is going to have different alternatives, I think, moving forward, where I assure you none of my officers up here want to see this kid turn out to have a life of crime or anything. We're hoping that this kind of moves them in the right direction. My guys, I think, are pretty reasonable down the road with whatever other alternatives can be put in place here to kind of get this kid moving in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, you're finished. You're done? You have anything else to report?
Look over here real quick. I'll breeze over most of the rest of this stuff then. And dispatches for January were 214 as opposed to 219 during December. Relatively stable there. There was a very strong increase in non-billable details, which would be officers self-initiated type things such as traffic stops. We had 319 during January, up from 222 during the month of December. And that comes down to us having a lot more officers on the street up here. Officers are out there either out talking to the community or involved in other self-initiated investigations, which is the major increase there. As you can see under traffic incidents, if you got a copy of that in front of you, 206 total traffic stops and contacts during the month of January up here in Lincoln Heights. 44 of those, actually less than 44 resulted in tickets. So less than 1 in 5. 1 in 5 traffic encounters are ending in a ticket, even less than that. Criminal CIS criminal investigation. Right now we do, I'm going to get to this down here at the bottom as well. We've switched over our reporting system here in January. So we have some things that are a little incomplete. CIS was unable to provide me with the information on case closures and how much property had been removed. January 15th, we switched over to a computer record management system, which is how we're doing our reporting now. Basically, the reporting for the officers is going through the Ohio Attorney General's office. We've had some we've hit some speed bumps with this. There's a learning curve for the troops, and really from the top straight on down. There've been some headaches, like switching up systems anytime you're doing any of this technology and implementing it. Obviously, I think we all know you're going to figure out that there's some bugs in the system, but we're working through it all. Captain Tony Rue's leading that, moving forward through 2021. We hope that it's got a lot of benefits once we get things worked out. It'll help to streamline some of the things we're doing, and help make reports more easily available to the officers and other people and information sharing. That will be all I have for tonight. How about that?
Okay, there was some activity on Chicago recently, a couple of days ago. Can you talk about that?
Chicago, a couple days ago.
Yeah, over the weekend.
Weekend up on Chicago.
Yeah, on Chicago.
It was I know there was a fight run, I think, right there on the Woodlawn border, which ended up being nothing. I'd have to pull the February reports. I don't have those with me here.
Okay, so you're right. This is the month of February, so I get to find out about it next month. But we will talk. What I would like to do is set up a COPS Zoom meeting for council and anyone else who want to attend, for you to inform us as to what's going to happen with that grant. What are we supposed to do to educate us? We're not all familiar with the COPS grant. We know that we did sign off on a letter of agreement to let it happen. We just don't know what all is in that grant at this point. We need a refresher course in the COPS grant. And I'd like for us to all be together at one time, and so we can ask you questions.
No problem.
Okay. Is that okay, Ms. Padre? Turn your mic on.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So it may not happen this month, maybe sometimes next month. Okay, and then we will all have that grant in front of us so we can pull things out to ask you questions. Yes, Vice Mayor Stinson.
I had a question about de-escalating training. How often does the sheriff do de-escalating training, especially with our mental health numbers? It seems like are rising. I just don't want to be on national news. I want us to be able to use some de-escalating techniques before we have to go to the next level of tasering or subduing somebody in some kind of way.
We're all on that page. Nobody wins when we go to Fifth City. Nobody wins with that. We're starting our training section's working on where we're going this year as far as what our training agenda is. That's not set by me, but we've got a lot of with the new administration coming in, we've got a lot of different things that they're trying to look at. I think obviously Miss Joyce knows they were out Friday morning, I believe it was, and they've been quite busy. It's the first time I've seen the new sheriff since she came in and the new chief. So they're slowly working their way through things and trying to outline what we're going to be doing here moving forward in 2021.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Baber, Councilwoman Baber? Okay.
I'm still here, but I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. No other questions, then we'll move on to.
No, I'm sorry, I do have one more, and maybe I'll wait to answer. It was a cadet question. Do we have all 10 of them yet? Because I met 2.
Yes, ma'am. The 10th, Patrolman Josh Turner, he finally started with us Friday, two days ago, or what's the hell? You're killing me. Tuesday, 4 days ago, right?
I don't know the days either.
Yeah, 4 days ago, Friday, whatever day that was.
Friday.
He's here, so we got all 10. Yep.
What is his name again?
Josh Turner.
Do you have a heel? Because I met a young man, he came into school.
Do we have a who? I'm sorry.
There was a young man that came into school.
Mm.
And it's yeah. I thought he said his last name was Hill, but yeah.
Hill?
Okay. I don't know.
So
I can't-
Josh Turner is an African-American male.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, all 10 are here now. So we're start moving forward with some new things here. So
Okay. Welcome, Josh Turner. Yeah. So no other questions. We can move on. And Vice Mayor Stinson, you can put down whatever that is that you're eating. Yeah. Under miscellaneous, Councilman Durance Daniels. Your mic is on. Unmute.
Are there any next steps you would like for us on regards to MBK from a safety standpoint? How would you like us to proceed into once again working with our young folks on a more pipeline type of situation? Chair.
It's good. I don't know where you are with that program, so but we can talk about it. We can talk about it at a meeting.
Okay, we already had a couple.
At maybe council the whole or back at the next safety meeting.
Okay, you and I can talk offline. Just like give you some details. Like I said, we already got 2 kids that already involved in it. So yes, ma'am. Okay,
fine. I was trying to count the numbers. If we make up the majority of anything, then we cannot meet it offline. But I think we're okay. The committees we serve on have more than 2 or 3. Okay, so all right, you Councilman Daniels, click back in, please. You requested to be at this meeting.
Yeah, I didn't. I was gonna talk about our lead testing situation again. Just wanted to bring it back up because I know our folks from UCA came by. And we said we wanted to bring this up in safety. So just I'll do a quick recap. The mayor and I spoke with some folks from University of Cincinnati environmental department who was willing to give our residents some lead testing kits to see if there was any lead in their soil, particularly around the gun range. But obviously, you got to get samples from different areas as well. So just wanted to get thoughts from this committee, thoughts from you, Chair, on how you would like to go with that, what type of next steps you would like to see, and then who would you like to lead this project, and that way we can make sure that information is passed. Once again, folks who were in the loop on a council standpoint from been in communication has been the mayor and myself. So however you like for it to proceed, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're talking about the entire village of Lincoln Heights in different spots. Yeah, taken off from near the fire range or in my backyard or your backyard is what you're talking about. So I think, and maybe someone else can help me with this, is that Ms. Powdrill can direct that. Ms. Powdrill?
I think that is a huge undertaking, and I'm not real clear about how you want to proceed in terms of who's going to be taking the testing. I can guide you towards how you should plan it out, but that is a huge undertaking of who is going to be taking the testing and who's going to collect it, who's going to make sure it gets to where it needs to be. I don't understand what that process is. So I think it's more of a further discussion, maybe offline, and then come back to the safety committee and talk through how that can happen. I think it's a good idea to do it. I think it would be useful information for the village. But I think I want to make sure that we are doing it in an efficient way, and that we're collecting the right information and everybody knows who's doing what, when, and how.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Would, is that okay with you, Councilman Daniels?
Yeah. Because once again, a lot of that will be led by the folks from UC, where our role, when I mean the community of Lincoln Heights' role is just to once again organize those people, and then the Heights movement's role would be to organize those folks already using that catalog. I think where we wanted to make sure the village, we want this to be a complete, we want to make this a complete community project. Everybody needs to know if there's lead in their soil. Everybody needs to know if there's a high concentration of lead, where. So the folks from UC will be handling all the transferring of the samples, soil samples, the training of how to go about getting those samples. That'll all be done by the folks from UC. Our role is just to let them know who is going to be doing it, and that type of thing. So, but yeah, me and you and I can talk offline, like you said, and then we can report back to the safety committee next month.
Yep.
Yes, because I don't see the safety committee doing it. It is a safety issue, but I don't see them actually collecting and doing that piece. So when we find out what we need to do, then maybe I'll have a better idea as to how to involve the committee. Vice Mayor, you have anything you want to say about that? Nothing. Ms. Baber?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. Okay, Ms. Powdrell, we will talk about that and find out the best way to deal with that. Okay, Ms. Powdrell, you on?
For safety updates, I just wanted to let everybody know that it was great. The sheriff did come to visit the village on Friday. I did have an opportunity to ask her a couple of questions, some of the questions that you all inquired about. It's great that you, Madam Chair, has requested that Tony Arua, is that, am I pronouncing it correct, Lieutenant?
Aru,
Aru.
O-R-U-E, Aru.
Aru to come to
Yeah.
share with council regarding the grant. I think it is important that we understand really what are the outcomes that we are looking for, so we can hold each other accountable, that we are reaching those goals, and at the end of the day to say what change has happened in a village. I think that is important, an important story to tell. I will also send the sheriff a copy of our contract, because that ends at the end of the year. I think early is better than late to start to have that conversation about our contract and renewing it. I think I also met with Sheriff Amos, and we talked about the space at the village. So we discussed we will discuss a timeline of how they will move some of their items out of the office. The contract calls for the fire to have the bay and an office space. Eventually, I'd like to remodel that space so that it could be a space for us to use for our meetings. And we, at this point, don't have a kitchen for staff to eat. So we would use that as at some point double. We've had someone from the Reimagine team to come out and look at the space and see how we could renovate that, as well as redo our storage space, because we talked about in our meetings with Councilman Daniels that we don't have enough storage space in the village. So we would like to kind of reimagine that, as well as give the service department a place to come into the building as opposed to come directly into the central area of the building because they will be tracking dirt and all that stuff. And so it will allow them to kind of have their own separate entrance into the building. I think all the other stuff that we've talked about, I think Chief Amos talked about the grant. I would have kind of shared comments on that. That is moving towards some of the targets that we've outlined for safety in terms of those initiatives, Madam Chair, that you talked about that you wanted to have. So I'm excited to see that that is moving forward. Paved roads, we're getting ready to bid out, I believe, Stephens, and I can't think, it's one other street. We're getting ready to bid out that for the repaving of those two streets. So we will open the bids probably at, I believe the date is March 11th. So we'll be getting those two streets paved. We have sent out the job description for the code enforcer. So I expect to have resumes back on that. And this is kind of an overlap with the law committee. We talked about the code enforcer and having to evaluate both what am I trying to say? Our existing code in the village, as well as the International Property Maintenance Code. So I have to go through both to see where there are discrepancies, fix those, and bring it back to the law committee for your review and acceptance, and then send it to the solicitor and hopefully go back to council for an approval of that change. And that's all that I have for safety.
Okay, Manager Powdrill.
Yes.
You talked about, is it Lieutenant Rue? Is Lieutenant in the front of his name?
I'm not sure, Jim.
It's Captain. Okay, Captain Rue. Talked about inviting to a meeting that council can hear him. You're talking about a regular council meeting or council the whole? That's just a question.
I see. If you want everybody there, I think it would be best with council as a council of the whole.
Okay, so what's going to happen is that because people are going to have a lot of questions, in my opinion, that maybe he can be in that Zoom meeting to explain that grant. And then we can bring all the questions we need there and spend a half an hour talking about it. It could be just a meeting inviting council to attend to find out about the grant.
So you want a separate meeting, or you want a council?
I want him in that Zoom meeting that I talked about to talk about that grant. Instead of coming to a council meeting, is to have a separate Zoom meeting for that we can give him more time and we can ask questions, unless someone else think it should be done different. Do you want it at council the whole?
Yeah. I can see your head shaking, Vice Mayor. Can you tell me which you prefer?
I prefer to do it in a separate meeting because committee of the whole, it could take up time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be on a outside of a council or a committee meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
When I asked for the Zoom meeting to talk about the COP grant, that is where he will come into play for that, along with Lieutenant DePotley and whoever else he can bring along to make this happen. So we will have a clear understanding and we all can ask questions and they can be answered.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll talk about a date. Yes, Vice Mayor.
Are we still on miscellaneous?
Oh, I need to ask her another question about the code enforcer. Can you send me a copy of the
Job description?
job description that you put out.
Mhm.
And are we looking for a full-time or a person to meet the needs?
It is a part-time person.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Ms. Powdrill, do you have a cost of the reimagine? That's what I named it, the reimagine. Didn't you say you had reimagine come and reimagine the fire
Oh,
department?
No, we don't have a cost. We don't even have drawings yet. So his role, he's an architect. So he is kind of doing the drawings. And then we'll get to a cost at some point. Yeah.
Okay, I have a second question.
Yes.
Okay, my second question is, well, this is miscellaneous, it has nothing to do with what you talked about.
Mhm.
Safety wise with the snow and the service department, do we have enough overtime allotted for them? Because I think we may have allotted overtime for something, but this week, the snow seems like it's extra overtime. I
Mhm.
want to make sure that do I need to recommend something go into finance? What do I need to do to make sure that they can get overtime to get our roads together?
So we just had, there is a significant amount of overtime. So let me just say that. And we did have a meeting regarding that today. What I have directed staff to do, and Donna, you can talk about a line item from a finance department perspective. But what I've asked staff to do is anticipate that we're going to get another snowfall. And how do we stagger the times, and so that we are making sure that we're that our employees are safe, that we are covering the ground and making sure that our streets are clear as best as we can do. There sometimes we just cannot control, and that we're keeping everybody safe outside. So we are working through the budget part of that. Donna, are you there? Do you want to speak to that? She may not be.
Yes.
Okay.
What we did was we increased the overtime amount. I don't know, Vice Mayor, if you remember the discussion. It was in one of our last budget committee meetings, and we increased it to $12,500 for overtime.
So we should be good.
Okay. And we could bring this back up in finance to clerk of council. Would you please add Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell as in the meeting? Okay. I would like to thank the service department or the maintenance department for an outstanding job. And I would also want to thank Ms. Powdrill and also Ms. Rita, who have been making announcements to the public about the weather and what's going to happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your service. Anybody else want to thank them? It is a safety thing.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Vice Mayor?
Sure, I want to thank them.
Okay.
Sure, thank you. Although I don't think I'm getting the robocalls anymore. Can I get put back on the list?
Yeah, we do. Vice Mayor, Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
Vice Mayor, I think I've encouraged by Madam Chair is that we need to update our robocall list. So we'll come up with a plan to do that so that we can have more numbers that we can call. I don't plan on just to use it to send out robocalls about any and everything, but when it's important, it's something like this, and we did have some very difficult weather. I want the residents to be aware what to do and what level of emergency. And you will also get our snow plan. So whether it's a level 1, level 2, or level 3, you'll know what our hours are in the office when that happens. So we're going by whatever the sheriff says. So it was a level 2 today. So we kind of it took us like 2 hours to come into the office. So.
Okay, that can also be included in our preparedness plan, you know, so that the community will know what to do or to come out, stay in, and also to be careful
Yes.
Yeah. Another question about Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. I think you came on and then you went mute again. Did you want to say something? We're running out of
I just
time.
wanted to say thank you as well.
Thank you.
Councilman Daniels.
No, love the communication. Just, I know we keep talking about building out our social media as well, just so we can continue to broaden that communication standpoint.
And Madam Chair, may I respond?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Councilman Daniels. So we're trying to get like our Facebook and Twitter and all of that back so we can use that as a tool as well so people can kind of find us. But we're working through that. So
And
yes.
I've also talked to Ms. Powdrill about putting it in the newsletter coming up to ask anyone that would like to have news. What kind of news did you call it, Ms. Powdrill?
News that they can use.
News that they can use. And I love that. News that they can use, and they can call in or send their telephone number. And I think that Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell, your hand up? Was that your hand? No? Did you have something to say? Okay. Anything else on the miscellaneous? We're running out of time. Again, thanks to our Village of Lincoln Heights employees for keeping us safe, and to fire and to police. Have a blessed evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move for adjournment.
I second it.
It's been moved and second to adjourn the meeting. I would now turn this over to, I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye and aye?
Aye, aye.
Okay, I will now turn it over to Madam Laverne Mitchell for finance.
Y'all take care tonight.
Thank you.
Everybody, have a good night.
I am here, Miss Laverne. I was just putting something in my mouth.
No. No problem. No problem. Miss Randolph, did you hear from Miss Key? Does she plan to join us?
No, Madam Chair. Haven't heard from her.
So let's just wait 1 or 2 minutes, please.
Works for me.
Ms. Key says she's trying to get in the meeting. Adam, I'm not sure who the host may be.
Looks like they made me the host. I'll let her in.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I just saw her. Thank you very much, guys.
I got it.
I'm going to throw up a full screen in the meantime. So whenever you guys are ready, it'll just go away and then you guys can start. So.
Is Miss Mitchell here?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Waiting
Oh,
on you.
I didn't see it. Hi, I'm sorry, ma'am, for being late to your meeting.
Oh, no, that's okay. That is no problem. You know, things happen. I knew you were coming. If you didn't let Miss Randolph know you weren't coming, I knew you'd be here.
Thank you.
Hello, Councilwoman Key.
Hello.
All right. The Lincoln Heights Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 16th is now called to order. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Yes, present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Present.
Councilman Durant Daniels,
Present.
Councilwoman Tanya Key.
Present.
We have 5 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. We have prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the mercy, blessing, and grace you have given us. Lord, we thank you for the snow. We thank you for your seasons. Lord, we ask that you keep everyone safe as nature does, it takes its course. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be among us while we are deciding the business of the village. This we ask in your son's name. Amen.
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 All right, first on the agenda, as usual, is the acceptance of the minutes for January 19th. Are there
Motion
any?
we accept the, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Not at this time.
Go right ahead, Ms. Key.
I motion that we accept the previous meeting minutes for January 19th, 2021, pending any corrections.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, thank you. All right, any particular old business, typically from the January 19th review. Ms. Pope, was there any news from the auditors? Ms. Pope?
Yes, sorry about
Oh, okay.
okay. Yes, there was. I received the corrections and we're working through that. And so the regular audit should resume in March. And so to get a better understanding of the postings, the payroll was posted at gross. The bank posts payroll at net. So the difference in that gross and that net is what we've been off. So we're going to go through and do lump sum payments per year by fund. And luckily for us, our payroll just comes out of one fund. So once we make those adjustments, our reconciliation paper, our reconciliation report will be in balance.
Right, Ms. Pope, can you repeat that again about the lump sum payment?
Lump sum corrections. So she gives me, the auditors went through all of my reconciliation reports that I give you, and she listed all the differences, but instead of entering them back per item, it's going to be a lump sum amount.
Oh, okay.
Which will total the amount that we're off. It just won't be 30 or 12 entries. It'll be just one entry.
Okay, for some month this year or December of last year?
For 2018 and 19. And then they did include 2020. So we can make sure that that year is correct. So we won't have this issue again when we come for our 2021 audit.
And so that lump sum correction will be made one lump sum for each year or all of them done in 2020?
They will be for each year, there's a
Okay.
correction, but the
One lump
correction will
sum
be
for each
made.
year. Okay.
Yeah, the correction will be made this year for
Oh, and 20
18.
for the other 3 years. We'll do it
Yeah.
in 2021. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any questions to Ms. Pope for that, Vice Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. So this is, so that it's for the good for us, right?
Yeah.
Because we were doing gross and they were doing net,
Yeah.
right? Okay, that's, I just want to, do you have an amount for that?
I don't have it in front of me, but yes, I do have the amounts for all 3 years.
Do you just, can you give me an
The
estimate?
total amount of the correction is going to be 126,000.
Yeah.
So for 18, let's say it was 40,000. For 19, it was 40,000, and then for 20, it's 40,000.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to be clear on this. So $126,000 will be not, I'm not saying that that's the exact dollar amount, will be deposited into our account.
No, the
Correct?
corrections will be, well, so the corrections will be made to make sure our system says the same thing as our bank. So we're not getting any more money. We're just making a correction to our system so the system will equal the bank.
Oh, okay.
Now, the bank has more than the system because when I posted the payroll at gross, and then I received the invoice for, let's say, PERS, and I posted the invoice, that's actually posted it twice because the bank only posted net amount. I posted gross amount because I have 2 different bills. And so that's what I'm posting. But I wasn't supposed to post it like that. I was supposed to post it at net because PERS was already accounted for in our gross amount. So when I got the bill and posted and paid the bill, I was paying the employee's portion twice. Well, I was posting it, not paying it. I was posting it twice. And I should have only posted it one time. Is that more confusing? Is that more confusing?
Are you clear, Miss
Vice
Stinson?
Mayor?
Are you clear?
Go ahead, you can ask
Sure,
again.
for that part of the meeting so far.
Okay.
All right, so the bottom line is that we're going to, one of these months in 2021, we will have all 3 years corrected. And the bottom line is that we will reconcile. Our book balance and the bank balance will be the same.
Right.
Okay, so it's a correction, not necessarily any money being deposited, transferred, or anything like that.
Right.
All paperwork.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome, Mayor.
You're welcome. Good to see you all.
Hello.
All right.
Hello,
Are there
everybody.
any other questions about the audit update? Okay. And Ms. Pope, when you say the auditor, you're actually talking about not the auditor who does the 2-year audits, but the outside, the connecting agency that works with them, correct?
Right. We're talking about
Okay.
the local government section of the State of Ohio Auditor's Office.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to kind of speak a little bit more about one of the goals that I had requested, and that had to do with the bond rating for the village.
Okay.
Is this the appropriate time to speak about that?
Well, you know what, as a matter of fact, I do need to go back and add other to the agenda so we can put that on there. So at this time, I will take a motion to amend the agenda to include other business.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second to add other business to the
Where?
agenda. And
Where?
that will come at number 8. Public comments will be 9 and adjournment will be 10.
So Madam Chair, would you like
So-
for me to hold my question until that
Yeah.
point? Okay,
Until then, yes, ma'am.
all right.
All right, so it's been properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it, thank you. Next on the agenda is the finance report for January 2021.
So let me first say that thank you, Ms. Mitchell. We worked together to present a scaled down version of the finance report because a lot of the reports that I were giving you guys, it was kind of repetitive in nature. All the numbers were the same on different reports, month to date versus year to date. So we thought we would just try to do a scaled down version and increase the information in the narrative so it could kind of explain all of the reports that you would normally receive.
And we're gonna also pull in Ms. Powdrill on that assistance. Thank you, Ms. Powdrill.
Thank you, Ms. Powdrill.
You're welcome.
So the fund reconciliation report provides an understanding of the changes in the village's cash position across all funds. So I did this one this way. I'm going to report the beginning cash balance for January 1st, 2021 was $1,593,781.23. And the reports that I would normally give you, they would be, the reconciliation information would be followed by a different revenue report. So we put it all together. And let me better explain this revenue section, what I wrote, what I was thinking. It may have not all connected on this paper, so I will explain it better than I wrote it. So our total receipts for the month of January was $597.26. That's a 33% increase over the same period in January of 20 of $116,833.20. Now, this is the part that I need to explain. The month to date, January customer deposits, those are deposits that come through our office through D or myself, or it could be a building permit or something like that. Not a building permit, a zoning permit. So
Where's this at? Where's this information? I can't find this on what I have.
Do you have a financial narrative January 1st through January 31st?
Yeah.
Okay, it should
Okay,
be
so
right
it's
there in that
page
in
one.
the second paragraph.
Okay.
It's page 1. Okay, so the total customer deposits, which is us, was $116,383.23. Now, of that particular total, the earnings tax collection was $112,130.13. So I gave you the comparison report in tax collections for 2021 versus 2020. And you see the total income for January that's in the tax system is $132,823.50. Compared to 2020, that it was only $70,014.95. Now here's where I need to connect everything. I put bullet points in here so you guys can see specifically who did what, where, when, and why. So we had one payment from company X of $50,000. That is their business tax payment, their quarterly payment. And this is the same company that Ms. D has been working with to make sure they make their quarterly payments. And so they made a quarterly payment of $50,000. The balance of that 112, 130.13 was earnings tax payments of 130,013 cents. I put that there because we estimated $730,000 in earnings tax for this year. So that averages out to about $62,500 a month. So you can see January was exceptionally well. Now, also in earnings tax payments from our ACH deposits. Our ACH deposits are deposits that we receive from Ohio Business Gateway. We also receive deposits from state of Ohio for gas, excise, permissive tax, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, and also Hamilton County Treasurer for the local government fund and motor vehicle fund. So we receive from Ohio Business Gateway additional $15,815.24 in earnings tax payments. So that makes our total amount of earning tax payments for the month with our deposits and the Ohio Business Gateway arranged payments of $127,945.37. So I tried to explain that the difference between the system amount, 132,823, is $4,878.13. And that was due to a correction that Dee was working with our accounting software. It was a batch that was stuck from December. So that's why it's a difference of $4,878.13.
Ms. Pope, please explain who Ohio Business Gateway is.
Ohio Business Gateway is our collection agency that's up at the state. It's the state of Ohio, Ohio Business Gateway, and they take our arranged tax payments. So by the time they go through collections, if you made arrangements to pay quarterly or whatever amounts you need to pay and you didn't, we'll send you up to the collections agency, and that's Ohio Business Gateway.
Thank you.
And those payments come through for a total amount monthly. So they might come on the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. I guess it just depends on when you actually made the collection arrangement.
Any questions on that?
So our total amount of ACH deposits received from January from the four entities listed above was $58,214.03. If we go down to expense, the total expenditures listed for the month of January 31st, 2021 was $159,202.13. And it's actually a 12% reduction when you compare it to January 31st, 2020 of $181,698.08. From moving forward, we wanted to list any checks that were written over $5,000. And that consisted of 6 checks that were written over $5,000 in our January check run. Donnelly & Donnelly, Dunrobin Associates, that is the company that's helping us with the Safe Routes to School project. John Deere Credit, that's our backhoe payment. Rumpke is our quarterly payment. Rush Truck Tire, that was getting the truck prepared for the winter season, not the one we just bought, of course, but the one that was we were having trouble with. And then the payment we made to U.S. Bank, $8,466.82. Those were supplies supplies, PPE supplies, also equipment, computer updates, not equipment, but computer updates. And that was charged to the COVID funding.
So Ms. Poe, why is it under, why did we pay US Bank as the vendor?
Yeah, because we have a business account with Amazon, and that's where we were ordering our computer update equipment and also some of the PPE supplies.
And Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming that we have a detailed itemized list of those items that are purchased through Amazon.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Key, are you speaking of for the COVID things or anything that we do for?
I'm specifically looking at US Bank because I had the same question that you had. Why are we paying US Bank? I'm thinking maybe it was a credit card or a line of credit, which is fine. Just making sure that we do have an itemized account of what's being pulled from that particular. Okay, as long as we have one that we can always refer back to. I'm not saying that we need it for the report. I'm just saying that we want to make sure that we have an itemized record of those individual payments that are being made through a third party or credit card, whatever US Bank is paying.
So what we do is US Bank will list everything that we purchased within that month. And what I do is go through and check off and attach all of the invoices to the US Bank statement. And that way, when the auditors say, what is this for and why did you purchase it? We have a copy of the invoice. So all invoice copies are attached to the US Bank credit card statement.
And so right now, is Amazon just being used was used just for the COVID or for other things as well? Because, oh, okay, because I don't know if Ms. Key had come on, but Ms. Key, you might check back. I think we do have a list of all the things that was supplies and things that was spent with the COVID money. So
okay.
you need to have that.
Okay. I don't think I heard that.
Okay.
I can get that later from Ms. Donna because I'm going to follow back up with her to understand the new format of the report.
Okay.
Not to hold up our time today.
Okay. So on page.
Hold on, Donna.
I'm sorry.
It's Charles Jeter.
Yeah, I had a question. We're only going to list those things that were purchased over that we paid for over $5,000. So would you do a quarterly report that would list all of the items that you have paid for?
No, on this report, the narrative, we're trying to show you all the information, everything was done within the month, but you're going to always get a copy of the check register.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I got it. I see it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Poe.
Okay. And our ACH withdrawals are usually our ACH withdrawals. We have one account and it's just a zero account, and that is just strictly our payroll. So usually our ACH withdrawals is our payroll and then the monthly service fee for US Bank. So on page 2, you'll see our ACH withdrawals was $29,853.93. But after talking to Ms. Mitchell, she wanted me to mention we have a section here called committee updates, and she wanted me to list the dormant funds that we had closed out last year, I believe it was. They had balances, but they were dormant, and so we closed out those funds and transferred the monies to the general operating account. And so you have a list of all the dormant funds that we did that to.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Will this, and this is to you or Ms. Pope or Ms. Powdra, would this also be the area in which when committees outside of finance are meeting and there's a recommendation for either to purchase or to seek for a grant or anything like that? Is this where we will tie it to the finance committee by having it in that section? Is that the intent for that, or was it something different? Just looking for understanding.
Go ahead, Ms. Pope. Because, or
Yeah,
either Ms. Cowdrell can address
Ms.
that.
Cowdrell.
So, to be honest, we didn't think about that. What I envisioned for this section would be kind of like a hodgepodge of things that people might need an answer to, or that's something that occurred during the month that we felt that was important that we needed to share with you. So based on your question, it could be that space where we can do that. And I think I didn't get a chance to ask, if it's okay with you, Madam Chair, if I can answer another question I think that Councilwoman Charles Jeter asked, and we kind of went past, but she asked it from the
before
report
you
that
do
you
that,
have, we wanted.
Before you do that, let's clear up Ms. Keys, because Ms. Key, I think that is a good question. The committee update is basically for, something from finance. However, I do think that it could be used, like that. For instance, we have on the agenda the Lincoln Heights Day budget, so that we understand that, or if there's something that is that has to be expended we hadn't planned for and has come before finance and then worked out through another committee, that would be perfectly well. Ms. Powdrell, Ms. Pope, you agree?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Powdrell, go ahead. You can go back to Ms. Charles Jeter's question.
And it was just that my follow-up was that I think that we wanted to give you something very simple to react to, but on maybe a quarterly basis, give you more detail for a detailed summary of how we are from a quarterly basis year over year. So
it's fine. I actually found the thing in the back that I was looking for. So I'm
okay.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Will those funds go away?
Yes.
Okay.
Continue, Ms. Pope.
Okay. Yes, I just want to piggyback off of both Ms. Mitchell and Ms. Powdrell. The committee updates is to answer some of the questions that happened in a previous committee, also a previous finance committee. So I can give you guys the answer to what happened to this. We talked about what happened, just to keep you updated also. Which is I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Ms. Pope. I'm sorry.
Which is also on the next section is the PEP grant. We did receive that check for $1,000. I know we had talked about that before. And I submitted an invoice that was actually $1,059. I was hoping they gave us the $1,059, but they didn't. They just gave us $1,000.
So Ms. Pope, have they has PEP indicated what the new scholarship or grant amount might be for this year?
No, they haven't, but I did receive a request for PEP to come out and do best practices. I don't know if Ms. Powdrell, I don't know if you received that same email, but they said it's time for us to do that safety review where they go over everything.
Yeah, that's usually every 2 or 3 years, right?
Right.
And they check our insurances, make sure that the new vehicles we have are put on the report, that type of thing. Okay.
And then we spoke on the audit update. And I just wanted to also say that the employee payments that were charged twice, it did not come out of the employees' paychecks. It was just a posting error. Posting the same payment twice to the system. It didn't come out of their paychecks. The right amount came out of their paychecks. Now, as I was talking to Ms. Mitchell, she noticed some end of year funds balance differences. So what that is when I give you the report of the month to date, the month end report, before I close out a year, I also go back and see if I need to make any kind of adjustments or corrections, or I look at all the accounts and make sure everything was charged properly. So what happened from your December 31st report to, as Ms. Mitchell mentioned, 101, it was an adjustment that I made to these four funds. So the police fund and the fire levy fund, I'm sorry, I should have put another column on there. The difference is $14,158.51. So a payment was charged to the wrong fund. So it was 214 and 215. So it would have been let me see, a fire department payment that was charged to the police fund just by, oh, that's what it was. I know what it was now. It was a posting when we received our property tax. I hit 214 instead of 215. So I had to go correct that. And the same thing with the rapid response grant. We had to make a charge to that adjustment to that grant, and it ended up with a balance of $69.07. And we don't have to return that. We can just buy something else that is related to the census or community population count or something like that. And on the CARES Act, the $95,000, the balance at 1/1/2021 was $95,107.87. The December 31st report was $103,793.57. That was our adjustment for it wasn't bonuses, but the essential workers pay. And then on page 3, we have the bank statement shows the ending balance on January 31st, 2021 at $1,703,719.39. Our outstanding checks are $135,086.80. So once those clear, our reconciled balance would be $1,568,632.59. That would be our January 31st bank balance, our reconciled balance. So on page 4, all the information that we just talked about in our narrative is right here. Our beginning balance was $1,593,781.23. Total deposits for the month of January was $174,597.26. Our total withdrawals was $64,659.10. And our ending balance, the bank has an ending balance of $1,703,719.39. And at December 31st, we had clear checks of $40,543.77. Now, when you get into this section, it's always going to be, the clear checks are always going to be the previous month outstanding checks. So on December 31st, or in December, we had outstanding checks of $40,543. So in January, they cleared. And so now we have a new non-cleared amount, our outstanding amount, which is $135,086.80. The bottom section of this is the book balance. And here is where the transaction happened is where we posted. So we had postings in the general fund, the street construction maintenance and repair fund, the permissive tax fund, our PEP grant, we received that money, Mayor's Court Computer Fund, and the House Bill 481 CARES Act. So that's where we had receipts and expenses in the month of January. So I put a line on here so we will know what the unreconciled balance is, which is the bank versus the book difference, is that $126,251.25, the amount that we talked about in the narrative. Once those corrections are made, that number should be zero. But you'll see up top that the bank has more money than we have on the balance per bank versus the balance per book. On page 4.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
May I just ask a question about the balance for Memorial Field, fund number 328? It just has a balance of $2,200 some odd dollars. Did we budget that there, or is that just a balance that's been carrying over in that field? Do we know?
That's been carrying over. That's
Okay.
been carrying over. Our new balance in February's report, you're probably seeing it's going to be, I think we budgeted one. Do you remember?
It was about, let me see what this, it was like 150 and then 79, right? Or 70?
79 on the revenue side. And then it'll be one, let me see, Memorial Field.
Mayor, do you remember how much we got from Silverton Tom Carroll's sister?
I thought it was about 250.
Now, this is what we budgeted here. So we'll probably most likely have to make appropriation adjustments because we have we have Memorial Field expenditures at $106,416. That's
That's
first
the ODNR.
Yeah, so we're probably going to have to change this appropriation to 250. I don't know if we're going to receive a letter, Ms. Paldrew. You might be able to. Did we receive a letter saying that we received the grant for 250? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, that is a good question. I asked that last month about how did we know that we got it, and
So, Madam Chair, may I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess the question is asking, and this is in terms to the grant that we received from that Tom Carroll led,
right?
Correct?
Right.
This is what it was funding from the county. So I don't, and it is listed on my list of outstanding projects that I received from the county. I don't know if there's a letter, and I know that they are aware of this, that pot of money, because we got more than anybody else received. I keep telling you. So if you don't mind, I can ask for a letter if that makes everyone comfortable.
That makes me very comfortable because we don't have anything that said, unless the mayor may be able to speak to it, but it would seem that even though Mr. Carroll penned the grant, the application information, we should, on our behalf, we should get something saying this is what you are getting or whatever. So typically it goes to the grant contact, so I would imagine either he put down his name, but we should have something that shows what it is, the amount, for our records, because I'm curious to know what, even though it's from the county, under what program it comes under. You know what I'm saying? Which batch of funds. So we'll
Madam
be able to do
Chair.
it next year when it comes up.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I'll be able to have that information for you. I know it has came up and we had discussed it before, but I'm looking at an old email. So I'll have that information for you Monday.
Thank you.
You're
Madam
welcome.
Chair.
Yes,
Madam
ma'am.
Chair, I know it came from the CARES Act funding.
Okay, out of the county, out of the,
Yeah.
not the commissioner's money, but the
No,
development
That I
office
don't know.
money.
But I
out of
know,
the CDBG.
I know
That's
Tom
what I'm
Pierce said
saying.
it was a CARES Act grant that we could.
Okay, so basically we'd say the county said, hey, y'all, here's your money. And the development office said, oh, okay, we're gonna take some of our money that the county gave us and give to Lincoln Heights for this.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it has to be, what is it, ADA? So
Yeah,
I think,
so, and that's why we just needed a copy of it so that we know where it's coming from. If anybody asks us, we're able to speak to it. All of us are able to speak to it.
okay.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad to hear all that information, but my question was on the $2,000. I was trying to determine if that's monies that, for instance, in our recreation meeting, we've been talking about some items that we might want to spend funds from. Is that what we're looking at as what is in that fund for community rec items, or?
No.
This came from a previous grant.
Okay, got it.
Leftover from a previous grant.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Thank
that would not include the 79,000 for the
Right.
Nature Works. It's you're gonna have a combination of 2 grants
Okay.
and some.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on page 5 and 6, this is where you're gonna always get this copy of the check register report. So you can see exactly where the monthly payments did go to. So the narrative is gonna have a lot of revenue and a lot of expenditures, but I am always gonna attach the actual check register so you can see where that money actually went to.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
to Donna, thank you for adding that column that says payment detail.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that satisfy a lot of questions.
And so that would conclude the monthly financial report for January. If you guys have any more questions that I can answer.
Thank you, Miss Pope. So at this point, we need are there any questions? Again, any questions about the finance statement for the month of January? If not, there's a motion needed to recommend to council that we accept this report.
Motion.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All righty. New business, Lincoln Heights Day budget. Ms. Stinson, or it's Ms. Baber. Well, I remember I asked you that we could talk about it. You all mentioned it in the, I forget which meeting we were in, but it was recommended that we talk about the budget.
What would you like to know, Ms. Mitchell?
So your $30,000, have you all, that is what is in the recreation. I can't recall if that is what is all to be spent on Lincoln Heights Day, but do you all have a preliminary budget
We're gonna have that at the next meeting. That's when everybody's supposed to bring to the table their budget, what they're gonna spend, how much money they think they're gonna need, and we're gonna get out the letters. That's gonna happen next meeting. I should have everybody's budget.
Okay, and so will you put that budget together and then present to us?
No, we're not
How
gonna
is
do
that going
that.
to happen?
Nah, we're not gonna do that.
You're gonna
Sure,
present
Ms.
it to-
Mitchell, we'll
but
do
I don't
that
know
for
if it's
you.
coming here or to recreation. That's my question.
I'll bring it to finance because I'm
Okay,
never in recreation meetings.
All
It's
right.
up to you. What do y'all want to do? What's the best? I'm not gonna
Well,
say what I'm not gonna do. When whatever y'all need us to do, that's what we'll do.
well, as long as you put it together, you know, the line items and whatever, and.
Wait a minute, Ms. Mitchell. Whoa. You know, yes, I do have somebody to do it in the line items. Sure, Ms. Mitchell, we'll have that information for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any particular font?
No, just as long as you list everything that, you know, you're spending on and what the amount is. All right. Just want to make sure you don't go over. Now.
Go over what? Go over what, Ms. Mitchell?
Whatever amount you're working with. So first you're gonna, you know, is it $30,000 for all?
We put $30,000 in the budget as seed money. Everybody know the main thing to do is to raise your own money. That's seed money. We're gonna figure out how to divvy that up too. We're gonna put that in there so that everybody is feeling, so it's fair. We're gonna be fair.
So once you do that, then you know how much money you all have to ask your sponsors for. Is that what you're saying? Because
we might not be working, we might not be doing it exactly your way, but we're gonna have all that information for you the next meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Don't say it like that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Okay, we put $30,000 in the recreation account number, line items. 101, 140, 5230. We put 20,000 in for contract services, and 101, 140, 5240. We put $10,000 in for supplies.
Okay, and so the basic question is, it's in recreation, does it all go towards Lincoln Heights Day?
It was increased because of Lincoln Heights Day, so.
Okay, so the Lincoln Heights Day Committee needs to know that there is what, about, was it $2,000 or $4,000 carryover from the last one?
Yes, they had, last year they had, we appropriated 4,500. I don't think
Okay. But there is some there that is not included in the 30, correct?
Only thing we appropriated was the 30.
Right, but if we look back, there's some, so I mean, there's some extra money that has been carried over since the last Lincoln Heights Day, correct?
No, there's not.
Oh, that's included in there?
Yeah, here, let me make sure. But in recreation, it's only 30,000. And we don't have anything for Lincoln Heights Day.
So that $30,000 is not for Lincoln Heights Day?
It's increased because of Lincoln Heights Day.
Let's go back over the minutes. What was it at the beginning? Because I was thinking they were two separate. When we started with the budget, I came with what I wanted for Lincoln Heights Day. I don't know what recreation asked for.
Okay, so then we'll have, both of you guys are right. Miss Mitchell, there is Lincoln Heights Day Festival. There's a carryover balance of $1,243.35.
Okay.
I placed the total appropriation in recreation. So if I split that out, just let you guys know where I need
There's
to put.
Specifically some money titled Lincoln Heights Day, that 1,000 plus. Okay.
Yeah, $1,243.35. That was left over from a couple years ago.
Now,
The fund titled Lincoln Heights Day Festival. I put the 30,000 all in rec. So if I need to make that adjustment and put however much you guys tell me to put in there, we can do that appropriation change.
Okay, now, so I just think that Ms. Pope and Ms. Powdrill, that something has to be information given to the Lincoln Heights Day Committee to understand where, when they raise the money from their sponsors and the letters they get, what that process is going to look like and where that money is going to be deposited. So y'all need to kind of work that out. So
We're working on that, Ms. Mitchell.
But I'm just saying for once you all get that, making sure that Ms. Pope lets us know how that happens and so forth and so on, just what that process will be.
We already
for you
ordered
all
that
to
LoJack
even
from
ask for
Amazon.
money, huh?
We got you, Ms. Mitchell.
All right. All right.
Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Mitchell, I do need clarity on that $30,000 though.
Well, that's what I was trying to get you, Ms. Stinson. So
yeah, I need somebody to tell me what I have to work with, because I thought I had $30,000 to work with.
Okay.
So I do, Madam Chair, I do remember the conversation being 30,000 for the Lincoln Heights Day. I just put it in recreation, so I need to take it out of recreation, but then we'll still need to put amount. What amount do you want? Does council want to appropriate for the recreation line item? Because we didn't have a budget just for recreation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
But I do know that you did say, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I do know that it was said that 30,000 would go to Lincoln Heights Day. So I would suggest that you put it in Lincoln Heights Day, because that's what we decided months back.
Okay.
So my question then becomes, once they start to raise the funds, okay? Once they start to raise the funds, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the process by which the funds will be expended, how whatever the requisition and all that process will be. That's going to come from Ms. Stinson to you and whatever, and have all the information. I just think that we just need to make sure that that's clear. So from what I'm hearing, so right now, Lincoln Heights Day has 31,000 plus, whatever that little extra was, right?
$3.35.
Okay. So then when the funds start coming in that they are raising with their sponsors, right, we eventually will have to go back and amend that budget, correct? Because we will now be receiving revenue. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Jeter.
Ms. Baber also has her hand up.
Oh, I don't see anything from Ms. Baber. Where's Ms. Baber? Oh,
Ms.
okay.
Baber's
She's on
hand,
the phone.
I guess, but my question is to the committee. Do you have a backup plan in case this virus keep going all year?
I am working on a back. I'm thinking of my own ideas. Yes, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, all right.
Ms. Baber. You're muted. Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Before y'all left recreation or in this area, so does recreation have any money at all?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Pope.
So no, because I put the whole 30,000 in the recreation budget, thinking that was a recreation, a community event recreation, but no. So no.
So y'all won't leave recreation anything?
No. What council has to do is we have to appropriate a certain amount for recreation. I just combined the two departments, which we do have a fund titled Lincoln Heights Day. So I should have put it there. And then recreation get a different amount, which is the budget that you have to, present to council, and you guys tell me what to put in there.
Well, what we would vote on to put in there. So Ms.
Right.
Baber, if you have some specific events.
I don't have any
outside-
specific anything, Madam Chair, but I do think that it should be some dollars in the line item for recreation, period.
Okay,
I mean,
so I'm saying that if you may not have something right now, but in the past you have, and so if you give your recreation committee and see if you can, just brainstorm on what you think would be a fair amount, and let's present that. I mean, because anybody can pull a number out of the air, but if you're showing something that you might want to do,
I mean, we just put $30,000 in for Lincoln Heights Day, and we didn't have a clue what we're going to even do with Lincoln Heights Day as of yet, or at the time that the money came out, and we can't do the same thing for recreation.
Who is we, Miss Baber? Who is we?
Okay.
Oh, come on,
so this
I ain't trying to fuss with you. This is a
I'm
question.
not going to fuss. I'm asking
right,
a question.
I'm just talking
Miss
about
Vice Mayor,
recreation
Miss
and money
Baber.
for recreation.
Ms. Baber, why don't
Yes.
you, me, Ms. Pope, and the manager just do a Zoom and talk about what it is you think you might want to do, and let's see where we are in the budget to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
rather than use
yeah,
this
I
time,
hear
let's
you,
look at the appropriation.
My question, Madam Chair, was, is there some money that we can just basically put in recreation in case there is something that we'd like to do? The money will already be there, like we have done for Lincoln Heights Day. Bottom line, that's all I'm asking.
So again, I think that we need to have the appropriation in front of us so that we can see what we have available and where we can pull some funds from, so that it is enough to do something with. And I've always been a proponent, even with the $30,000. If you recall, not this past, but in 2019, what we did, we asked people to come in with a budget of things that need to be done to look at. That wasn't done this year, so that we could see what we were going to be doing. So even with the $30,000, there, in my estimation, should be, okay, we estimate we're gonna spend 5 for this, 4 for that, just to give us some pre-justification. So that's all I'm asking. So I think that if we look at have the figures in front of us to see where we can transfer and amend the appropriation to put something in recreation, because I think there should be something in recreation. Ms. Powder, do you want to respond to that? And then I'll go to Mr. Daniels and then Ms. Jeter.
You're on mute.
I was distracted, but I hope I'm answering the question. And if I'm not, please correct me. But I think it's worth sitting down and having a conversation, excuse me, with Council Baber to hear exactly what she would like to do and create a line item for her on her for whatever initiative she wants. I do feel bad because there is no line item for recreation.
Well, there is for recreation, but
funding.
Yeah. Okay. Miss Baber.
I'm still here.
Okay. So can we agree to have you meet and take a closer look at it?
I don't have a problem with that, but I think this is something for Donna. She should be able to look at the budget and say where we could get some money from to
but
have
what we have to do is tell Donna, Ms. Pope does not say, hey, let me put this much in there. She based that based on what we think.
I understand that. I'm just saying that she's
okay.
familiar with the budget, and maybe she can look at it to see exactly how much money we can pull from here, there, or wherever, due to the fact that she paid the bills and everything.
All right,
so that we can have something there for recreation. That's just bottom line. It should have just automatically been appropriated in the first place.
I agree
Madam
with
Chair.
you. So, Ms. Powdrell, we're going to ask you to set that meeting up, if you will.
Madam Chair.
Just a minute, Mayor. Ms. Powdrell, did you?
I would just ask that if she could provide us some direction on what she would like to do.
Oh my God.
So, Ms. Powdrell, can you just have that can you have a separate conversation with Ms. Baber?
Sure.
Okay.
I will call you Councilwoman Baber.
Mr. Daniels. Mary, can I get you after Ms. Jeter?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Just bringing back to the issue of funding for Lincoln Heights Day in regards to getting donations. Is there a digital platform? I know we talked about ACA revenue sources, Ms. Pope. So if a funder or if somebody from a corporation wanted to give online, do we have that capability of accepting that type of payment?
It's
can
not,
we set that?
Ms. Pope.
That is unfamiliar territory. We haven't set it up like that before. We have ACH payments that we receive from other governmental entities. I don't know how it would work with like a company making a huge donation. I don't know.
So, Mr. Daniels, can you get with Ms. Pope or Ms. Powdrell, or unless Ms. Powdrell already knows how to set that up, because that is something that the Lincoln Heights Day Committee needs to either include in their letter for requests for sponsorship or donations. That needs to be included. So that needs to be a separate. Ms. Powdrell, I'll see your hand.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Madam Chair. Yes. So typically what I've seen in the past, what they are asking for is a W-9. You'll give that to them and they will tell you how they will send you the funds. So if they're going to do a direct deposit, all you would need to give them is your routing number and account number. And then Donna would need to make sure when that comes in to find an accounting way to allocate it towards that fund for Lincoln Heights Day. So it could be check or it can be direct deposit.
So,
I cannot speak to if they want to give you a debit card. Now, some of them like to do that, and that I cannot speak to.
Continue, Mr. Daniels.
Just in response to that, and it might just help for clarity, if I can get hosts, I can just show you an example of just what exactly I mean and how simple we can do, and I'd love to put it on our website. And there will be a way for both big donors and grassroots donors can both donate, even if I'm someone as thank you. Sorry if I can. I'm just gonna share my screen here. And so here, I know everybody knows this website here, but if you just sorry. So here, if you just have, it could be on your front page. But this is a simple button that you go to that just says donate. And once you click that donate button, it takes you right to where you want to pay. So on our website, we can have our fundraiser information, everything we want to have for, and you just quickly hit donate. If you're a small time donor, you can do it that way. So I just that's some way that we can do it where it goes strictly to when they click it, they can put their information in, and then that can go strictly into that account, that line item account.
Just like GoFundMe, right? Similar to that.
It's a little bit more direct. GoFundMe hits you with the, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's the same process.
Yeah, but it'll be on our website. Yes, ma'am. Right. Yes,
Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm.
This is my only concern, and maybe because I'm, old school, I don't know about the modern technology, but we want to give our account number to all of the different entities. That's
you wouldn't give your account number out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so once again, so if I was to go through the whole process, you would just simply click donate, and then when you click donate, you see that it takes you here, And then from here, you just hit whatever item or other item you want to pay. You can pay debit, credit card, however, and then that way it goes strictly into that account. So if we can possibly maybe start maybe next month or after, like Ms. Jeannie said in our next meeting, bring that back to finance, that'll be a way that anybody could donate on our website.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Ms. Jeter.
Okay, to the committee, if it's going to be a virtual thing, you might be able to make a lot of money that way. I recently attended one that made $60,000 for 2 hours.
Yep.
It did a gala, and I'm sure Princeton is probably going to do something similar to that to continue with the their fundraising. So if you cannot do it in person, then that may be a perfect way to do that, is have some kind of way where you can go in and actually donate. And those folks that are out of town or even out of the country can do that. But will the government allow us to do that? That's the second part to that. What can we do as a government entity? You have to find that out.
Are you gonna let me
All right,
speak?
Ms. Powder,
You
did
done
you
forgot
want
me.
Mayor?
I almost forgot it.
Oh, no, but after Ms. Jeter.
That was a long wait.
Yeah, I almost
Anyway,
forgot too. I'm with you. I did.
I know y'all
forget.
did.
Well, Mr.
That's all
Daniels
right.
had to do here, so we all good. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, so for Ms. Powdrill and the council members, every year we have our budget. And so I would say that I'm gonna encourage council when we're doing the budget to make sure if there's something, a wish list that you want to have, put some funding in your committees, that is the time that you want to do that. And so that way we won't have any issues when it's closer to the time that you would like to do something, but we have to have a dollar amount. It controls what we have, it controls the numbers that we have to work with. I mean, we can go back and do appropriation for it, but that is the time when each committee gives their numbers. And that's what Councilman Daniels and Vice Mayor Stinson did before, actually last year, 2 years back, they talked about putting money in Lincoln Heights Day. COVID hit and they brought it back. And that's how we were able to get that number for Lincoln Heights Day. So I just want to encourage council, Ms. Powdrill, that's what it normally happens. They give the dollar amount. We like to see what they want to do because it makes sense. We can't come up with, because we have to remember, it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. And we're held accountable as we plan with taxpayers' monies. So just wanted to put that out there. We want you all to do things in the committee, but just have your numbers ready so they can go ahead and implement those dollar figures as we're doing the budget. But if that doesn't happen, like Ms. Mitchell said, she'll get with Ms. Powdrill, Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Baber, and y'all talk it out and make appropriations for it to make something happen for recreation.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Ms. Key, you had something you wanted to?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess part of my thought process is when it comes to donating directly to the village's account, that as a government, we have to be very careful with the anti-money laundering laws. And we have to make sure that we're able to determine who the funds are coming from. And because if they're going directly into our account, Ms. Pope, maybe with a nonprofit, that's one thing. With a government entity is a whole separate thing. So I would because I don't know if we've ever done it that way before. So I would say to make sure that we cover everything, we cross our I's and we cross our T's and we dot our I's before we allow direct funding to be put into our bank accounts. That's my only thing. I would like to see us to be able to do that. I don't know if it'll work the same way we would able to do taxes and to be able to get those payments as if you notice how lengthy that process was to be able to have someone pay direct that way. And so that's my only concern that I want to raise. Not that I'm against it or I oppose it. I just say I want to make sure that we do our due diligence before we allow the donate button that goes directly into our funds.
I think that's very valid, Ms. Key, and I think that is something that Ms. Powdrill could work out, find out for us, and if there's anything that she needs to do with Mr. Desai, she can do that. Mr. Daniels, you have something you want to add to that?
Just quick question on procedure then for the fundraiser. The funds, for the committee raises the funds, and just let me draw this line. The committee raises the funds, and then that committee then, because like you said, the dollars have to be accounted for, then that committee then would donate it to the village. You see, so then who would then, how would the, if my question then, how would the dollars be accounted for if the committees donated it? I guess we would be the third party.
Well,
If that question makes sense.
In the past, Mr. Daniels, typically you tell the person how to make the check out, which if that's what they're going to do, made out to the Village of Lincoln Heights, and then it comes in to Ms. Pope.
Okay.
All that's in the letter, and then that is then shown as revenue to the Lincoln Heights Day Fund.
And Madam Chair.
And that's the other thing that I was talking about earlier. You know, we have to make sure we understand what that process needs to be. So that's something that Ms. Pope, Ms. Powdrill will work out with the Vice Mayor, so that all of that is explained to the committee. Same way with how do we get the money when, you know, if the committee needs to do something. So all that needs to be, worked out. Ms. Key.
And Madam Chair, just one more thing for Mr. Daniels as part of processes, just like when we do fundraisers for running for government or running for an elected position, we have to capture the contact information, all those details. If there's a cash donation, I think there's a threshold. At one point in time, it was you can only donate $25 in cash. Everything else had to be something that is traceable and trackable. So, and those are my only concerns. It's not that, we've moved into this technology realm, and we just want to make sure that we are protecting ourselves and the person who is giving as well, because we want to be able to get large donations for this project. We just want to do it in a way that is legal, and we want to make sure that we do our due diligence for whatever we need to do in response to their giving.
Okay. Ms. Key, was that the only question that you had? Is that what you wanted to ask for your other?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah, Ms. Pope and Ms. Baber's hand was up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can't see Ms. Baber. Ms. Baber.
I guess my hand is still up from last time. So
I can't see a hand on my screen. So thank you for those who are doing the good lookout. Go ahead, Ms. Baber. Oh, you mean from the last question that you had? I got you. Thank you. Ms. Pope?
So I wanted to clarify a couple of things. Mr. Daniels, when we're talking about ACH deposits, those deposits come from intergovernmental entities. It's not any corporate places. It's intergovernment. So it might be the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County Treasurer. So those are all governmental entities. And so that's why we give them our account number to make a direct deposit, because we get those deposits monthly. Then the other thing that I wanted to say was, I think it was 2 years ago, it may have been last year. No, it was 2 years ago. For the budget for recreation, there was something put in that line item because Mr. Daniels and Ms. Baber came and said what they wanted to do. And so it was like the mayor said, they presented their wish list for recreation. So that's why we created that line item for recreation. And that's why we have $4,500 in there. But we didn't have any discussion on different things for recreation this year, last year, except for the Lincoln Heights Day Festival. And that's why I originally put the 30,000 in that, because that's the only thing we were talking about.
So that tells us that we do have to somewhat improve our process in terms of how we begin to do our budget. Just like if we have the commissions, certain commissions need to spend money. And although our commissions aren't very functional, nevertheless, everybody needs to put in that, and that was a request in 2019. If you recall, Mr. Daniels came in with, hey, I want $12,000, put it into recreation, something, we try to do $1,000 a month. And so I think somebody else presented something. So that is really what we need to do as we begin, as each department does their budget, then council members need to do the same. So we'll work on that. So we'll earmark that for the manager and the finance director to remind us of that. So I just have two other things. One is I spoke with
Excuse me,
Ms.
Ms. Mitchell.
Caldwell.
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes,
excuse me.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I did put my hand up again this
Okay,
time.
Miss Baby, just understand, I don't see that on my screen. And so those who have been looking out for you just didn't see it. So we're sorry. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. The
Mhm.
$4,500 that we did have in recreation, what happened to it? Because I know we didn't use it. So it didn't just roll over?
No, the budgets don't work. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go right ahead.
The budgets don't work like that. When we have money that has not been expended, it becomes a part of our carryover balance. So if we appropriated 50,000 and you only spent 20,000, the 30,000 becomes a part of our ending balance, which is our carry forward balance. And then when we're doing the budget, then we allocate things that you want by your wish list. So it's not because I didn't spend all of my money, it carries over.
Well, in the past, Ms. Pope, we would roll it over to the following year. And normally when we do the budget, we do kind of look back at what we did and what we had there. And we do kind of put those numbers in those spots, which we did in the past before we came up with this, wish list.
Well, I think, Ms. Bader, also that what happens is that at the end of the year, if there's funds in another area that we have to do transfers, what we call our supplemental transfers at the end of the year for maybe one line item that was over budget and didn't have enough money in it, then we look where we can take it from the other. And I think the funds that stay in recreation or in Lincoln Heights Day per se, are those funds that were earmarked for that and cannot go anywhere. Those are the ones that carry over. But if we say, oh, let's put $3,000 in there, if we don't spend it, then it's up for reappropriation.
Well, Madam Chair, I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying in the past years, before there was a wish list, we would just move that line item right over to the following year. And that's why I didn't come with a wish list, because I thought that we at least did that. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Jeter.
Well, I was thinking about donated money, as I think is what you were talking about before. Someone donates the money, that can be taken over into the other year, into the next year. Is that correct, Ms. Pope?
Yes, if it's cash, if it's a cash donation, we're talking about expenditures versus revenues. If it's revenue and that money stays there, if it's expenditures, we have to reappropriate that.
Right, something like we have a scholarship money there, and that money can just keep going. But if it's money that's been appropriated, you cannot do that. You can't leave it there. You can put that same amount in the next year if you ask for it. It's an ask, I believe.
Right, it's not automatic.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the acts. That really wasn't brought to my attention. But since you did mention scholarship, we were talking about referees, and Mr. Daniels had said something about we could use some scholarship money to make that happen. And we didn't ask council about it, but we're in this financial meeting. Is that something that is possible?
Okay, when you say you're referring to?
The
I mean, we do
scholarship
have,
money and the referee training.
well, the scholarship money that we have for the village right now, the Anna Perry Seeds of Hope scholarship, that is more or less restricted. That's what you use that for. But so I guess I'm
I
not
mean, you
quite
use
sure.
it for training, but you can use it for training as well, correct? Mr. Daniels.
No, you cannot. Not the scholarship money that we have set up in our current budget that you see on there. That's not the same thing.
Okay, so could you ask is it okay if I ask Mr. Daniel exactly what he was talking about? I mean, since we are in this financial meeting, and maybe you could shed some light if it can happen or not.
Problem. No problem.
So when,
go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, just clarify. Yes, ma'am. In our recreation meeting, we had Mr. Willis on. He was just saying that it's about $150, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting the number, on how much it is to take the refereeing test. So we had mentioned potentially that, well, if you're from Lincoln Heights and you use so many of those refereeing hours in the village, then the village would then pay for you to take in your refereeing class, if that was something we might be able potentially to do. So if that was something we were to do, if we were to have about $1,000 set aside for those folks from the village who take that training course, and then use those hours have to be used in the village, so then the village doesn't pay for those refereeing fees. This was all in the combination of conversations that dealt with Mr. Larry Franklin, the football coach as well. So it was an organic conversation. Ms. Mitchell, I believe you were there in our conversation. So I'm just giving a summary, but where I was thinking in mind is that we have a line item specifically for that. It could be a subset in recreation for our referees from the village who need to take that class, but in order to take that class, you have to give so many hours to the village for free, if that makes sense.
So I think that I understand that when she said scholarship, that's what changed the dynamics of that. So, but I do understand what you're saying, so that if we wanted to do something like that, that is something that needs to be ran through Ms. Powell and the attorney, our law director. Now, the other thing with that, because that's a good scenario, you would think until we have a situation where there is a need for referees in the village, once we get basketball games going, once we have a facility to do that, that may be something to look at. So Ms. Baber, I also mentioned in that meeting about if we wanted to make sure that our kids had somewhere to play because our field is not usable. So in recreation, to put some funds to rent the field might be an opportunity. That's the kind of thing that you would want to look at, which is very similar to what we did back in 2008. I believe it was. We didn't have a lot of recreation going on. We came up with a recreation summer youth program under recreation that said that we will pay $50 for your child to go to being. They were able to go and attend the Princeton summer camps that they had because that money was put there. However, it wasn't just put there, it was outlined. You know, the program was written up. Hey, here it is. This is how we're going to do it. And we put that money there. So that is an example of what you can think about doing to make sure that you can put some money there justifiably in recreation. You know what I'm saying? So that we know going in some of the funds of what it's going to be spent for. But I think having a conversation with Ms. Powdrell will be able to help you clear that up and come up with some ideas. So the last thing that, well, not the last thing, because I don't think I got to my other one, is that, so I had talked to Ms. Powdrell earlier about, you know, the snow situation. And so I was concerned about the overtime because the spreadsheet that I have connected to the appropriation says it doesn't have an amount there for the overtime. And I remember bringing this up at the budget meeting, like we had $8,000 for, I guess it was 2020, but there was nothing put in that spot. It was blank. There were a couple of blanks, Ms. Poe. So what, and I was trying to find the other one to see where I could find out how much we have for overtime, because I know that's going, I know that's going to happen. And we only have 3 guys. So, my first question is, what is our amount for overtime? Because on that sheet, it doesn't have anything there. Now, I'm sure you did come back and put it, but it was not stapled to the appropriation resolution that I have.
I have 12,500.
12,500. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Madam Chair.
One moment, Ms. Kate.
Okay.
So, and we're looking at that taking us through any other special events that we have, as well as Lincoln Heights Day, so forth and so on, correct? All that's calculated in there. All right, Ms. Kate. Thank you. Ms. Kate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just asking the process for overtime. I vaguely remember having a conversation about having a process in place for overtime and employees not just doing overtime just because. I don't remember exactly when we had that conversation, but has there been a process identified for when overtime is approved, when it's warranted, when it's necessary? Have we been, and we could have been brought up to speed and I just wasn't here, but I'm just curious about that since you bring that up.
Good question. Ms. Poe or Ms. Powdrell? I guess that would lead to Ms. Powdrell, what that process would be.
So we recognize that was a gap in operations. So what we did today, I directed Ms. Pope and Jamal to sit down and schedule out staff from the service department. I managed, Ms. Pope is salaried and the only other person is Rita. And so I think during times like this, like you mentioned, Madam Chair, the Lincoln Heights Day, as well as during snow emergency, we need to be very clear about the time that we use and how much time we use. And for not only just to get during the snow, getting the snow, but we want our employees to be safe. So from that perspective, I think there has to be a balance of understanding that we have 3 people on staff. And they are working tremendously hard. So I would just say to you,
doing a good job.
Yeah. And so when they hear negative feedback, because I'm on them, and then they hear negative feedback, that can be defeating for them. And they're working their butts off. But at the same time, they need a break too. So I encourage you to encourage them when you see them. I try to, once I've taken them food, because I know that, they're out there and it's cold and they need to be nourished and there's nothing open when you all are asleep. They're out there working. So we are working on that and we can report back to you to let you know how we are going to work through that. But yes, we recognize as a village that we did not have a protocol for that. And you all know I love protocol. And I will
Thank you, Ms. Powdrell.
You're welcome.
So the last thing that I wanted to bring up was that even though the finance report looks a little different, There may be some other things we might need to tweak, but if you desire, because I do, and I have asked Ms. Pope, I want to see the detail. I want to see the month-to-date revenue detail, the month-to-date expenditure detail, all the extra papers. That's just me. That's how I do things. And if you request that, she will be more than glad to provide that with you. It just will not be a part of the actual finance report. So if you want that additional paper to see how much is being spent where, and little detailed as it says, then you can request that. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Mayor, you have anything?
No, I did want to thank the service department and Ms. Powder and them. I know the roads are really looking good. The residents are very happy that they're able to get out of Lincoln Heights, and actually we look better than a couple of other neighborhoods. So I'm very happy about that. But I did want to encourage the service department and thank them for the service that they do. I don't have anything else, but I'm glad you all are looking good with your COVID weight. But I'm just thankful that with your COVID weight, because I got COVID weight and tax weight.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm glad to see you all are doing well. And see you Monday.
Thank you. Ms. Key, do you have an announcement?
It wasn't an announcement. It wasn't an announcement. You asked me to keep it until other. And just as a point of clarification for the bond, may I, Madam Chair? Just for clarification, so part of my goal was to look at our bond rating. All I really want to focus on is understanding how we receive a bond rating, what things can we do to make our bond rating better, that kind of information. I'm not looking for somebody to go and research that and bring that back. So we can.
But I think that's important. I think that we need to do that, Ms. Powder, because I think she and I talked about that.
Yeah. So that is
okay.
Part of my list, and I was supposed to come back to you. So, but to respect everybody's time, can we have that as an agenda?
Right. I didn't put it on the agenda. Just really trying to give you some additional time.
Talk about it in your Economic Development Committee, Councilwoman.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, Ms. Key, I was really speaking about the business breakfast. When is that coming up?
I'm sorry, which business breakfast?
At the school. Did we miss that this month? I don't
yes,
recall.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This month was virtual. It was February 10th. The next one is going to be May 5th. It is going to be in person, socially distanced. RSVP is required. They're only accepting 100 visitors.
Okay.
So when I send the emails out, I send the emails out to everyone on the list.
Right.
If you want to attend in person, just please RSVP so we can get you on the list.
Have you sent it yet?
No, ma'am. I'll usually send it out a month in advance. But May 5th is the date, so put it on your calendar.
Okay.
Ms. Powder.
I just wanted to know if I could pre-register. That's
I do lean towards the Lincoln Heights, my Lincoln Heights group. So yeah, if you just send me an email, to my Viking email, and I'll put you on the list.
Mr. Daniels.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yeah, I sent everybody an email today. It's a spreadsheet that kind of just it's a way that it's two things. One, using it to speak for a class at UC, but two, as we built out the algorithm, it's a way that we can also predict economic growth through finance. So all you have to do, the algorithm is pretty cool. If you want to see how many houses we want to build in a certain amount of time, it says how much that's going to cost. Also, though, what's the return on that investment on there? So just for the sake of time, I want to talk the meeting up, but you guys can look at it. There's a narrative on there as well. It also talks about how much workforce development, if you put that in investment in there, what your return on investment will be on that, as well as what it would look like if we had a fully functioning recreation department, fire, and police as well. So please just look forward to that, and looking forward to your responses, recommendations, and if there's anything incorrect, please let me know. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All righty, motion is in order.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Been properly moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
Adam, ICRC.
ma'am.
Before you leave, I need to ask a question before the two of us jump off of this. Need to ask you a question about the Zoom thing today.
Sure, go ahead.
Something popped up. I have a security that I haven't seen before. When I click on it, it takes me to unmute, rename. Is there a reason why security popped up this time? It hasn't been there before.
Can you go ahead and share your screen so I can see what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have to learn how to share my screen. So I hit share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just hit share screen.
And then what happens?
And go to desktop.
Huh? Click on what?
Click on desktop.
Where is it?
Should be in the top left. I'll say desktop 1.
Maybe I need to hit the share thing down here.
Yeah, and then once you do, there you go.
Okay. And then I go to where?
Just show me, go back to Zoom or wherever you were having the problem at.
Uh-oh. How do you get back to Zoom?
You see the little thing on the bottom? It's a blue colored icon.
Yeah. What did I do?
That might be, it's a direct message. Go to the very bottom of your screen. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the stream on ICRC real quick.